All right, so Nintendo, they have officially come back out with the new pre-order date here for the Nintendo Switch 2, and there is good news. I'd say mostly good news, but also a bit of bad news here, as there have been price adjustments, but I would say on the less important things. If you've been keeping up on this, the pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 was supposed to be on April 9th, which was about a week ago. Last Wednesday is when the pre-orders were supposed to come out, but there was the whole tariff situation, Donald Trump putting tariffs on, taking tariffs off. Nintendo had to reevaluate what they were going to price everything, taking into account the tariffs that were happening. And now they have finally come out here and given us the information about the pre-orders. The pre-order date for the Nintendo Switch 2 for the United States and for Canada it's going to be on April 24th now. So this upcoming Thursday is when you're going to be able to go out there and pre-order a Switch 2. The good news, the price for the console remains the same at $449.99. So $450 for the Switch 2 itself. But if you want the bundle with Mario Kart World, it will be $499.99, so $500 for that. The console pricing stays the same. Nothing has moved on that. Mario Kart World itself and the games are all the same price as well. $80 for Mario Kart World, $70 for Donkey Kong Bonanza. The Pro Controller here is $84.99. And I believe that is a $5 increase. So this is where the increases are happening with the Nintendo Switch 2. It is on the accessories themselves. They are having slight price adjustments. They say that they're confirming that the Switch 2 accessories will experience price adjustments from those announced on April 2nd due to changes in market conditions. And it also notes adjustments to the price of any Nintendo product are also possible in the future depending on market conditions. So of course, depending on how things go, I have a feeling that the tariffs on China right now are going to have some sort of an effect. Nintendo has been already shipping a bunch of units, and they have already a bunch of units in the United States. So they're probably going to sell through those. Those will have no price effect. But if the tariffs do stay as high as they currently are, I think we may potentially see some price changes in the future. Maybe they're sitting there, fingers crossed, hoping that the whole situation is going to be worked out previous to them selling out of their inventory that is currently available in the US, and that they won't have to make any adjustments. But if it doesn't get worked out by that point, maybe they will. I don't know, but they are making it for sure known here that there is going to be possible future of price adjustments that could still come. So it's the accessories that are getting price changes. Here are the prices. Nintendo, like I said, Nintendo Switch Pro 2 controller, $84.99. Joy-Con 2 pair, $94.99. Joy-Con 2 charging grip, $39.99. Joy-Con 2 strap, $13.99. Joy-Con 2 wheel set, $24.99. Switch 2 camera, $54.99. Switch 2 dock, $119.99. The Switch 2 carrying case and screen protector, $39.99. The Switch 2 all-in-one carrying case, $84.99. The AC adapter, $34.99. And the Samsung micro SD express card, 256 gigabytes, specifically for the Switch 2, because you need those express cards now, $59.99. If you're wondering what exactly those price increases are, it is about $5 for most of these things. It says here that the price of the Joy-Con 2 pair is rising by $5 to $95, with the Pro Controller also rising by $5 to $85. And then other accessories like the camera or the dock set are also seeing price raises between $5 to $10. So that's kind of what's happening here. They are trying to offset the effect of the tariffs and the economic conditions by raising the price of the accessories rather than raising the price of the console, which I think is business-wise a much smarter move, because people are going to care a lot less about these things being more like the accessories that maybe they're not even going to want to buy, like that Switch 2 camera. I don't even know how popular that is going to be. I have absolutely zero interest in purchasing that thing. How many people are actually going to go out there and buy a second dock, because obviously a dock comes with the console itself? Probably far less than the people that would be upset and angry if Nintendo came out and said, yeah, we're raising the console price by $5 or $10. People would be far more up in arms even just about that small of a price raise than the price raise for the accessories. But yeah, there is an effect here. The tariffs have had an effect on the pricing of the Switch 2 launch, and it's on the smaller items. So April 24th is when you're going to be able to go out and get that. Obviously, you have to keep an eye on the different retailers. I know in Canada specifically that the prices and everything are here. We'll go over that. But for the pre-orders, Walmart was doing something different than the other retailers. They were doing a midnight launch for this thing rather than a lunch launch at 12 p.m. like every other store, like Best Buy and Amazon and wherever else you would be able to pre-order, the GameStop, wherever you could pre-order the Nintendo Switch 2. But if you live in Canada, the pre-orders are now open for April 24th, just like in the US, as they had said they're going to align those pre-orders. And I think it is because they just didn't want American customers trying to buy up the Canadian Nintendo Switches because they are not region locked, unlike the much cheaper Japan version of the console. And they wanted to align these pre-order dates so everybody who wants one in each respective country can get it. And here are the prices. Again, the prices here have not changed on the Canadian side of things, but because of the exchange rates, the Canadian Switch 2 prices are kind of diabolical in certain ways. The console itself, obviously, much more expensive, $629.99, 630 Canadian dollars, versus the bundle with Mario Kart World, $700, which, to be fair, in the last couple of weeks, the Canadian dollar has actually gone up because of everything that's happening in the world. When Nintendo first announced these prices, the exchange from Canadian to US, it was actually more, like you weren't paying the exact amount. But now if you do the exchange, if you put in 450 American versus Canadian dollars, they could have honestly, like we can just go look here, they could have honestly just changed the pricing and maybe reduced it slightly, maybe made it $689 instead of $699, but obviously they aren't going to do that. Unfortunately, if you do the exchange rate here, $622 for $450, right? So the pricing is still the same, but it is, I mean, it is overpriced regardless of the exchange rate. In Canada, the tech in the Switch 2 isn't worth this much, but the games and the console are going to be great, and people are going to go still out and buy these on day one and pre-order it. This is where things get really diabolical though. Mario Kart World, $110. So you see people complaining about this game being $80. It is $110 in Canada, which is nuts. Donkey Kong Bonanza is $100. The Pro Controller, $110. Joy-Con pair, $125. Charging grip, $50. Joy-Con strap, $20. I know that seems like, okay, it's $20, but like the strap should be like $5 to $10. That's insane. Joy-Con wheel set, $30. Camera, $70. Switch 2 dock, $155. The carrying case and screen protector, $50. The Switch 2 all-in-one carrying case, $110. The AC adapter, $40. And then the micro SD express card, which you need for the Switch 2, $85. So pricing is the same in Canada. April 24th is when you're going to be able to pick this up as well. Pre-orders will be going live. This is going to sell out instantly. You can pretty much bet on that in both the US and in Canada. People are going to run out and get this thing, especially I think after we've seen more about Mario Kart World, just how phenomenal that game does look. So now we can kind of move past waiting for this announcement and then finally start focusing on the pre-orders, the launch, and what else is going to be happening here with the Switch 2. How good will these games end up being? I'm really excited for Mario Kart World. I'm very excited as well for Donkey Kong Bonanza. That is probably the game that overall I am most hyped for here in that launch period, that launch window, because I think that doesn't come out on day one. I believe it comes out a little bit after, but still very, very excited for it. So there's the update. Let me know what you guys think about this. Are you picking up a Nintendo Switch 2 on pre-order? Are you going to wait to see if there's any more price adjustments after the console is out? Or do you just think this thing is not worth it at all and you don't want to spend that type of money on the Nintendo Switch 2? Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.